All right, let's talk next about the null pointer exception. This is going to be a new error message for us. We're seeing now how that if you pull objects out of a string array, you can use string methods. So for example, if I go to the strings array and I pull out object 2, which I believe is the word mouse, okay? So there it is, mouse. I can apply any string method to this that I want. So I could say, for example, give me the length of that string. Or I could say out.println words bracket 2 dot substring, and I could put in some numbers there like 2 and 4. Since words 2 is a string reference, I can apply any string class method that I want to words 2. Okay? No compile error, and there's not going to be a runtime error either. I get 5, that was how many letters were in mouse. I got US because that was indexes 2 and 3 of the string mouse. Okay? No problem, right? Well, what about words 5? What's so special about words 5? Words 5 is where I snuck in that null value. Okay? That's not actually a string. There's no double quotes on it. Okay? It's not a string. It's a null. It's a blank. It's like a placeholder that's not using hardly any memory. And if I try to access words 5, so out.println words 5, and apply a string class method, any of them, the length method, the substring method, it doesn't matter which one, and I run this, it's going to compile fine. BlueJ doesn't check at compile time what is stored in that reference. Since words is declared as a string array, that's good enough for it. But at runtime, it's going to encounter that value null. Now that value is supposed to point where to go. So like right here, the string mouse pointed where to go find the instructions for the substring. Okay, so it knew what to do. When it got to here and it saw null, it doesn't return 4. Okay, it's an error message. The reason it's an error message is it doesn't know where to go. It's like, what are you talking about, null? What is null? Null is nothing. It's void. It's empty. It's not a string. It's not a circle. It's nothing. So it doesn't tell the computer what to do, where to go to find the instructions for that method. It's a null pointer. It's not a compile error, okay? Like we saw, it's a runtime error. Null pointer exception. Okay, so what we're going to start doing, this is going to happen to us a lot in loops. Whenever we're worried about encountering nulls within an array of objects, we're going to put in some code to protect us. So for example, right here I could have said, if words bracket 5 is not equal to null, then go ahead and run this line of code. And we're going to see that a lot in our loops. We're going to put that little if protector anytime we're pulling objects out of an array that are potentially null pointers. Okay? I could have done the same thing up here. I could have said if words bracket 2 is not null. And then I could have maybe like braced these lines here. Okay? The same thing. Now this code would run because words 2 is not null. We'll still see 5 print on the screen. We'll still see US print on the screen. But we won't get our null pointer exception this time. Okay? And the reason is I've protected it with that if. So I still got the first 2 to run, but the third one didn't crash my program anymore. Now, look at the circle array. Remember how I said I left the last 2 circle entries blank? Okay, they're null settings. Now, anytime you create an array of objects, by default, it's all set to null. I had to physically put those 8 circles in there with my loop, but I went ahead and I left the last 2 as their default setting null. So the same exact thing's going to happen if I try to do anything to those circles. Now, if I take circle 2 and I say set radius to 99, that's going to set circle 2's radius to 99. I'm sorry, I think the array's name is circles. Okay? Or now I could say out.println circles 2 dot get radius, and that would then print 99 on the screen, because these are actual methods that I put in the circle class, so they can be applied to any circle object as long as that object is not null. Okay, so if I run this right now, again, this is going to be perfectly okay. All right, it printed 99 because I know that the circle's radius, it looks like it, for me it was 0. The random radius it was assigned was 0, but I changed it to 99, and then that's what printed. Okay, and this was using the methods of the circle class, get radius, set radius. Okay, now if I tried that same exact code and I tried to apply it to either circle reference 8 or circle reference 9, this is not going to be an out of bounds error. There is a location 9. There's an index 9 in that array, but there's not a circle there, and you can't apply a circle method to null. You get that null pointer exception again. So again, what could I do? Well, again, I could do two things here. I could put that if statement again if I wanted. I could say if circles 9 is not null, that would protect me. Or, if you wanted to, another thing you could do here is you could actually create a circle 9. So I could say circles 9 equals, let me try that again. Circles 9 equals a new circle. I'll build a new circle through the default constructor of the circle class. Now, circles 9 will no longer be null, and I can now perform any circle method I want on that circle reference. Okay? And we won't get a null pointer exception this time. Now we got the radius set to 99, just like circle 2. So now circle 2 and circle 9 actually have the same radius. Okay? Up here it says null because we haven't set that circle up yet. I later constructed a circle through the default constructor, and then I set its radius to 99, and then I got its radius in a print statement and printed it. Okay? So that's what happened there. That's how I avoided the null pointer exception that time. Okay? Or again, I could have protected it with an if, like I did earlier with the string. Okay? That's something that's going to show up a lot. We're going to get frustrated when we get that error message. The College Board likes to write trick questions that intentionally try to get you to access null pointers. That's how mean they are. We've talked about that before. Okay? All right. Real tricky stuff here.